Okay. My name is John Reynolds. I'm the acting chairman of the Lunenburg Sewer Commission. It's August 29th at 6:01 p.m. And let's see, Bill is not here, right? So,
Bill is here.
oh, he is. Bill, do you have a flag, Bill?
Yes.
All right, great. Then I'd like to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Sure.
Pledge allegiance to the
To the
flag
flag
of the
of the
United
United
States
States of America,
and
and
to
and
the
to the
republic
republic
for which it
it stands,
stands,
one
one
nation,
nation,
under
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 God,
God, indivisible,
With
with
liberty and
and
justice for all.
for
for
all.
all. Okay, great. In accordance with the requirements of the open meeting law, please be advised that this meeting of the Sewer Commission is being recorded and will be able to be found on the Lunenburg Access YouTube channel after the meeting. The following information is also provided for members of the public that would like to participate in the meeting remotely. To participate remotely from a computer, please use the link to join the public meeting webinar found on the posted agenda, or from a telephone, dial the toll-free number 888-475-4499 and enter the webinar number 820-5953-7604. If you've not registered with Zoom, you will be asked for your name and email address. No participant ID is needed. Just press pound when asked. I'm going to do a roll call vote. Let's see, I think I saw you there, Brett Ramsden.
I'm here. Thank you.
Mike Nault.
Present.
And Mike Macon. Thank you for joining us.
Mike, you're muted, just so that you know.
Yep. You're still muted. There you go. So we have an aye for Mike Macon. And Dave McDonald is not with us. He might be joining us by phone later, depending on where he is in his commute.
He just reached out to me. I don't think he's going to make it. So see what happens.
Okay. Bill Bernard,
I'm here.
Paula Bertram,
Here.
Jane Rainley.
Here.
Okay, great. Is there any public comment from the public? I don't think we have any public comment from the commission or staff? No? Okay. Any announcements from anyone? Okay, no announcements. The next item on the agenda is the organization of the board. I think one of the reasons, well, traditionally we've postponed this unless we have a full complement, which we don't. So if anyone objects, maybe we should push it off until the next meeting. I mean, Brett.
I agree.
The mic. Maybe if Dave does join us later on, maybe we can do it. So if we're all in agreement, we'll move that to the next meeting, which leaves us with our appointment, Wright Pierce. And I know I see Matt there, and I think I saw Kevin somewhere in the lineup. Yes.
Good evening. Yep, right here.
How are the two of you doing?
Doing okay. Good to see you guys.
Good.
Okay. Just for the public, Wright Pierce is here. This is a kickoff meeting for the discussion of the contract to review possible redirection of some of the Fitchburg sewerage to Leominster, which we did do once before, quite some time ago. Kevin, Matt, you want to take over here and kind of give us your thoughts about?
Sure. Yeah, I'll start, and I'm sure Matt will chime in when appropriate. But yeah, like you were saying, John, we did an evaluation for the town, through the sewer commission back in 2012. And it culminated in a memo. Okay, my screen isn't really showing it too well there, but you guys have a copy of that. And I know we've had some discussion, Paula, with you and Bill and the other commissioners over the last few months. And you asked us for a proposal to, frankly, kind of blow the dust off of that, update it, revisit the flows. A fair amount of things have happened over the last 12 years, 11, 12 years or so. And update costs. What does it look like now, 11 years later? So thanks for bringing us back on to, kind of update and refresh that. I think the timing is probably pretty good. Where it goes and what decisions are made after we update things, will certainly be up to you guys. But the intent is pretty short and sweet. The intent was not to reinvent the wheel. Unless you guys tell us that, we know a few things have changed. For example, Pratt Street sewer extension happened since then. Lakeview Ave area sewer extension has happened since then. Flows have changed. We've gone through a pandemic. There's a number of things that have happened, and costs have certainly gone up. But our intent would be to, like we did before, rely on the comprehensive wastewater management plan, CWMP, is kind of the basis for flows, in particular, estimated future flows. And then, revisit how we propose to reroute some of those either existing and or proposed future flows from Fitchburg to Leominster. I'd be surprised if there's a different and or better, more efficient, cheaper way to do it than what we did before. I think it was pretty solid. But we'll double check the layouts and update those as appropriate. And then update the costs, which, certainly things have changed over the last few years in particular. So it'll be interesting to see how, our evaluation and our cost estimates turn out. So that's probably just a quick overview. Again, maybe just a summary of the way our scope is laid out in our contract with you. Matt and I did talk the other day about some, updates and data needs. So we do have several questions for you guys. I don't know, John, if now would be the appropriate time to maybe, ask some questions. We certainly could follow that also with a written email maybe tomorrow to Paula and Bill, just to kind of follow up. What do you think about that?
No, I think now might be a good time.
Okay.
I think
Matt, I don't know, Matt, if you want to jump in and maybe just kind of tick down the list of a few questions. And again, I think we'll chase it with an email just to memorialize it.
right.
Yes, that works. I mean, I don't expect answers right now. So one is, Paul, if we could get like the flows from the 3 different flow meters for all of last year and up through whatever you have for this year,
Sure.
just to check that. Has there been, we'll send the map of the areas of that flow to Fitchburg if there's been any development since the last 11 years, because that would help understand if there's been flow or there's been growth. To know what the city of Leominster and the city of Fitchburg charge you guys. I don't know if it's the same rate that's published on their websites or if there's a different rate that charges.
They're different rates.
Okay, if you could get that, and then what your town rate for your customers are, just so we have an idea.
Well, I will tell you that Leominster we're in the process of renegotiating our intermunicipal agreement. So that that rate is most likely going to be changing. And at some point, the commission will be discussing a possible rate increase because Fitchburg has just gone up 7% and Leominster is proposing to go up substantially. So.
All right, thank you. And then if there's been any new, like Kevin talked about Pratt in Lakeview area, I didn't know if there's any other sewer extensions in like those areas that flow to Fitchburg right now that we might not be aware of.
John, you would know.
Pratt, I think Pratt flows to Leominster, I think.
It may.
Pratt dumps out into
Whalum.
Laleham.
All right, then yeah.
That
So
goes,
then,
that goes I'm not aware of any extensions
Okay,
that would go to Fitchburg at this point in time. But
right, and
as
we know,
far as,
oh, go
as
ahead.
far as flow goes, the, the, the flow to Leominster increased by 50% in 2021. And also in 2022. 2022 wasn't 50% more than 21, but both 21 and 22 were 50% more than 2020. And we're assuming it's because of COVID. More people were home. So it'll be interesting to see what happens this year, but you'll be able to see those numbers from the flow meters.
Okay,
And Fitchburg in those same years, I can't remember, was it 24 or 27%? And again, this year will be interesting to see if those go down. I suspect they won't go down back to where they were. So we have had some, in that, I know you guys will be looking at this, but that brings up concern of the MP technician that was doing our maintenance. He felt the two small pump stations on Mass Ave, which push sewage to Leominster, were pretty much running at 100% capacity right now. So I think any studies you do might show that there'd have to be some work done at at least those two pump stations.
that's good to know.
Okay.
One question, if I may, when I send you the flow data, I'm assuming you'd like it in an Excel format, so that way you can manipulate it?
If you have it like that, yes, that'd be
Yep, I
great.
can export it that way. Yep, okay.
Thanks.
Yeah, thank you, John, for the update on the flows. I actually was looking at some of the meeting minutes from some of your guys' past meetings, and I read about the flow increase. And yeah, we have seen with many communities, you guys certainly aren't alone, where COVID, certainly with people working from home, it changed, flow patterns. Interestingly, 2020, it doesn't sound like, because COVID really kind of started, March 2020. You guys didn't see it as much in 2020. It was more 2021 and 2022. So that's interesting.
Right.
Okay. And then, of course, the flow is not dropping back. I agree with what you also said, that they probably won't drop back down because of the whole hybrid work structure, right? There's some people probably are going back to the office quite a bit, but there's some people that are probably staying 100% remote, and then a whole mix in the middle of hybrid workers. So,
and the other issue we've had this year is it's been a very wet year.
it sure has.
And you know what that means.
Yeah.
Brian, so.
Yeah.
But anyway, Matt, did you have more questions? I interrupted.
No, that's it. And then bigger picture is the thought for schedule is depending when we get the information, we could look at it and probably turn around like the tech memo for either your meeting in 2 weeks or your meeting in a month or the 6 weeks out, and then we could go over it and then finalize it if needed to be, if that works with your schedule.
I think that probably should. Paula,
Yeah.
I think.
Yep, yep.
We'll communicate with you, Paula, as we kind of work through things, but as Matt just said, our plan right now, we met with another engineer that's going to work with us on it as well. And, our plan is to really get after it here in September and, hopefully be back in front of you guys after we've given you an opportunity, several weeks, whatever Paula thinks you need to review it, so that meeting that we have, you guys will come with questions, comments, whatever, and we can have a, substantive discussion. One of the things that it's still a, kind of a basic question is, if there is an appetite to reroute, do some rerouting from Fitchburg to Leominster, where is Leominster tracking? So the timing, I think, is good that you guys are currently renegotiating your IMA with them, and rates are part of it. wouldn't work out as well, right? If all of a sudden Paul, I think, Fitchburg's rates went up like 68% when we did this last time. So there was some real concern there, but hopefully Leominster's not talking about that sort of increase. Hopefully it's something more modest. Anyways, I'll leave it at that.
Okay.
I think that's it. If we have other questions as we dig, and dive deeper in, we'll certainly follow up and ask them, again, probably Paula through you and Bill.
Okay.
Okay.
So I think that's it, John, in terms of just kind of, setting the table and, once we get that information, we'll jump right in and get after it.
Okay. So you mentioned you'd be sort of formalizing your questions and sending them to Paula sometime this week.
Yes,
Yeah, probably tomorrow, Matt. What do you think?
probably, yeah.
Okay. Any of the other commissioners have any questions for Wright Pierce?
I do not at this time.
Okay. Mike?
Nope, sounds pretty thorough to me.
Okay. Paula, Bill, any more questions or suggestions?
Nope, my only comment is I think we have a good game plan going forward, so I think we're all right.
Okay. And Paula, are you all set?
Yeah, I'm all set.
Okay.
Actually, John, just one last thought here is, Matt, I know you would, ask for flows for 2022 and all of 2023. Do you think there's any value, Matt, in getting flows? Not trying to, pile on too much, Paula, but is there any value in getting 2020 and 2021 flows? Or is that just more than we need?
I can definitely do that. It's not a big deal for me to do it, so I can just send them to you and you can use what you'd like.
Yeah,
Okay.
let's do that, Paula. If it's not a heavy lift, let's just,
No, it's not.
perfect.
Yeah,
Thank you.
that's probably a good idea. And you can see for yourself what the difference is since the increase that we believe was caused by COVID. And like I said, who knows? It'll probably go down some, but I don't think it'll go back to. Of course, we've had some additional customers, but not anywhere enough to cause the increase that we did see. So,
Yep.
I guess one question I do have, John, and is when Wright Pierce is looking at this, you talk about the two stations that are at capacity. Did the commission want them to consider if Pondview Commons goes forward, what would need to be done, and would that be over the scope?
it would be nice to at least get some comments, but at this point, I'd have to ask Kevin or Matt, do you think that would be pushing the scope, or can you?
To be frank, yes, it is, but
Yeah.
that doesn't mean that, we're just gonna look the other way. I don't think that would be appropriate either. So a quick update on that. What is it looking like? Is it still a crapshoot 50-50? Is it leaning yes, leaning no, or who knows?
We really don't, who knows?
I would throw up my hands up emoji because we don't know.
Okay.
We just don't know.
But I think based on some previous information and communications, I think it was maybe more through Barb and maybe even Dave, but yeah, I think we know, or maybe Paul, you could share with us if it were to go, what the flow is, if it were to go and if they were to connect to the town's municipal system, what the flow would be. And I think we know pretty well where it would generally connect. So it's a data point that I don't think would be inappropriate for us to at least consider. So it's up to you if you want us to think about that or not.
So I can definitely send you the flows, and even if you don't consider the extension itself, but knowing what would have to be, what capacity our existing pump stations are at, would be key. So even if we don't go beyond that, we're going to need a couple other pump stations if this goes forward, but don't even take that into the equation. But knowing where we are with capacity at each existing pump station would be great information to have.
Yep. And we can, we know from before, and, now we're kind of playing what if it happens and they connect. There was I believe there was a couple of stations, along Electric Ave that would probably need some upgrades. So this might just kind of further compound that. Would it really, and it really largely comes down to what is, if there is an upgrade that's needed, or if that were to push it over the top, does it potentially increase the capital cost? So that's certainly important for us to have at least a feel for. Okay.
Yep.
Fair enough.
All right.
Good one, Paula.
Okay, any other questions for Wright Pierce? No? Okay. Matt, Kevin, always great seeing you, working with you.
Likewise, thanks, sir.
Look forward
Thank
to
you.
our next meeting.
Yes.
Thank you, guys.
You do as well.
Thank you.
guys.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Good night.
Have a good night.
You
Take care.
too.
Take care.
Thanks.
Okay, next on the agenda is the minutes from the June 27th and the July 11th. Has everyone had a chance to review?
I have.
Yes.
Yep.
Mike?
Okay, does someone want to make a motion to accept the minutes from the June 27th meeting?
I'll make a motion to accept the June 27th meeting minutes.
Anyone want to second that?
I'll second that.
Okay, any further discussion on those? Seeing none, all in favor, I'll just go with what I see on my screen here. Mike Macon,
Aye.
Mike Knoll,
Aye.
Brett,
Aye.
and I for myself, the minutes are accepted. The July 11th meeting, meeting minutes, does someone want to make a motion to accept those?
I'll make a motion to accept the July 11th meeting minutes.
Anyone want to second that? Going once, going twice?
I will second it. I wasn't there. That's why
It's okay, you can
It's
still vote.
okay.
Okay,
You can
so I'll
still-
second.
still vote. Okay. Any further discussion on the July 11th minute meetings? Seeing none, take a vote here. Mike Nault,
Aye.
Mike Macon,
Aye.
and Brett. Did we lose Brett?
Looks
Coming
like
in.
it's coming back.
We got him.
So Brett,
back.
is that an aye for the July 11th minutes?
Aye.
Okay, an aye for myself, the minutes are accepted. Okay, grease trap permits. Paula, why don't you start us out on this?
I certainly can, and John, I know you wanted to talk a little bit about the inspection part of it, but let me just talk about the permits themselves. So I had sent out the package that I plan to send to the internal grease trap holders, as well as a copy of the letter that will go out to the external permit holders. The new form will be sent as a sample, and then there will be a blank form with it. And the whole goal is to capture more information about exactly what's being done when the inspections are being done. We did have a clog on Mass Avenue due to grease, and we want to get in front of that so that doesn't happen again. So I did send that out, and hopefully you guys had a chance to review it and you're okay with that. I went through all of the permit holders to determine anyone who is out of compliance, and I wanted to ask you what you wanted to do as far as fines. Under the regulations, the permit fee is $150, and there's a potential automatic fee of $100 for non-compliance. So my question is whether or not you want to institute it for these particular facilities. So for internal grease trap holders that are non-compliant, we have Conrad's Drive-In. They do send the reports, but they are consistently very late. And then for interceptor permit holders, we have two non-compliance issues. One is La Balena Restaurant. They were due to submit a pumping report in June, and I still have not received it. And so we have no record of any pumping there. I know he pumped prior to opening, but we have no record of any pumping since then. The other establishment that is non-compliant is El Forno. They did pump, but they pumped on, hold on one second. They pumped on, in June, but I didn't receive a report until actually today. So that is very, very late. And it was only after sending the reminder of, hey, you were supposed to pump and you didn't. So those 3 establishments, I don't know whether you want to initiate the automatic $100 fine.
Okay, I have my thoughts, but I'll let the other commissioners talk about that first if they want to offer anything. No?
May I ask what our practice has been in the past in these kinds of circumstances?
So in the past, the old regulations were very different. The permit fees were different. There was a different permit fee for non-compliance, and then compliant. And what used to happen is there would be a $50 non-compliance fee that the board could initiate. And then there's a $25 fine for every day of non-compliance, but the commission would have to vote to institute that. We never really had an automatic fine of $100, so the regulation changed that. So that's why I'm looking for direction on how you want to handle it.
I guess my feeling is that this always takes extra work for the sewer business manager to follow up on this kind of thing. And it's, her time is valuable. So I would be inclined to institute the $100 fine in the case of these 3 establishments.
I could see that being a motivating factor as a deterrent as well. And it's not extreme and it doesn't increase over time quickly. Would we go with a one-time automatic, and then what if they don't comply? At some point we need to put the hammer down.
Right. The way it's right, you're exactly right. Is failure to comply with the reporting requirements specified in this regulation may result in an automatic non-compliance fine of $100. Continued non-compliance with any requirement of this regulation or failure to correct an existing violation may result in a non-compliance fine of $25. So I think particularly with these 3 establishments, I keep a really good eye on when I get the next reports. And if they don't respond and I don't get the reports, then I would bring that up at a meeting, and then you guys could vote to institute the $25 a day fine.
Okay.
My hope is that by doing this $100 fee that we get people back into compliance. I will say that when the commission issued the fines for non-compliant establishments last year, it was amazing to me how compliant establishments became about making sure they reported.
Right. And I don't, just Mike Macon, so during COVID, we waived all the fees for restaurants for 2 years.
Yeah, I read that.
So we have tried to help out that way, but I think Paul is right that I guess as I said, I'm in favor of the $100 non-compliance fee with these 3 establishments. It's something we would need to take a vote on for Paula to do that.
Mm-hmm.
If I may, it doesn't seem like it's first of all, an exorbitant fee. It seems more like do we have your retention fee?
Right.
So I don't think it's onerous on the business. So I would be in favor of it. Curious though, that if it's an automatic fee, do we need to actually take any action on it? Or is this just advisory?
Well, the wording in the regulation is strange. It says may result and an automatic non-compliance fine. So I don't know how if it's automatic, if it may result. So I
Right.
think it was, so I don't really understand that wording.
The point here is the wording probably should be changed, but in the meantime, I think we need to take a vote on it. So if someone wants to make a motion to apply the $100 non-compliance fee to the 3 mentioned restaurants,
I will make my very first motion
Go for it, Mike.
to apply the $100 fee to the non-compliant establishments.
does anyone want to second that?
I would like to second that.
Go ahead.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, let's take a vote. Mike Macon,
Aye.
Mike Nault,
Aye.
Brett Ramsden,
Aye.
and I for myself. The motion passes.
Get him current, Paula.
Yeah.
I'm trying.
Okay, Paula, why don't you still
Well,
got the floor.
John, did you want to talk about the inspection?
Oh,
before we
yeah.
move on?
We used to do random unannounced inspection audits of restaurants, especially the ones with internal grease traps. And I would like to start doing that again. We don't have to change our regulations. We have the authority, we have the right to do that. And in part, it's for us to get a better handle of what's happening with the grease traps, and because grease can be brutal on the sewer system. And we could either have MP, our maintenance contract company, do it, or they can do it in conjunction with someone from the sewer department or a sewer commission. I think it'd be good to have it. I think it's always good to have at least 2 people go, if for no other reasons, safety reasons. So I'd like to see us start doing that again. Again, I don't think it's something we have to take a vote on, but I just would like to get the rest of the commissioners' input and Paula's and Bill's also.
I would say that's a really, actually a fantastic idea. I think it additionally puts them on notice that we're paying attention, and might help keep them compliant, knowing that we're watching, just keeping them on their toes, if you will.
Okay. Mike Nault? Any
Yeah,
thoughts on-
I agree with Brett. Back when we did it, that's when we were really having, like, nobody was doing the forms. I mean, it was crazy.
Right.
And it brought it forward, and I think we got some good results out of it. So, yeah, I think it's a great idea.
Any thoughts, Mike Macon?
Just to describe to me how these are conducted.
We basically would show up at the business at what would hopefully be a slow time of the day for them, because we obviously are running a business, and just look to make sure that their reporting is up to date, and just do a quick look around to see if there's any changes from the schematics that would have been submitted with the annual application.
And additionally, we asked them to open up the grease trap.
Yes.
So that we
yes.
can see, is it being maintained? Is it clean? Is it at a reasonable level, or is it, very high and needs to be maintained?
And I view it as also potentially helping the establishments, because we did an audit on El Forno, so it was an external, but we found some things that we felt they should do that would help them out, that they really needed to jet out their sewer line from all the internal grease traps to the external because it was really clogged up. They had no clue that was happening. So I think we're there to also educate them.
Right, and there was also a broken component on that.
Yes,
I needed
yes.
to repair as well, that they
Yeah.
weren't aware of. I will let the commission know in the renewal letters, I did put that in addition to filling out the forms, the commission wants to be aware if additional maintenance is done on the lines as well. So if they do jetting of the lines or they do maintenance for the grease trap on the external system, we want to be aware of that as well. So I put that in the renewal letter.
Right, because if they have to jet their lines, then there's too much grease getting into their lines, either somehow, some way. So
One final question.
Sure.
In how we go about choosing, who to go to, is it random? Do we look at people with compliance issues? Do we?
I would let the sewer department make the decisions which ones they go to based on
Gotcha.
what Paula is seeing for reports.
I definitely have some thoughts.
I'm sure you do. I do too, but and they're probably on the same page.
Probably.
Okay. Oil and water separators, Paula.
So this is a new regulation that you guys adopted back in February. And honestly, it's foreign to me. It's not something I've dealt with. And so I'm really looking for guidance from you guys. I did look at the regulation and then I did some research on, how they work and what the reporting requirements are. We have 4 establishments currently that have oil water separators. One is the car wash at 129 Mass Avenue. That's next to the gas station across from Mackey's. Unitil, Whalum Wash on Electric Ave, and Walmart on Mass Ave. So this is a new regulation. They haven't had to do this before. So I'm going to send out a copy of the regulation to these 4 establishments. The fee is set the same as the grease trap permits in the regulations. It's $150. But I really am looking for guidance on what kind of reporting you want, because honestly, the reporting forms are all over the place. And Bill, this might be something you're familiar with. I'm not sure, but I sent out samples of 3 different forms that I got from the web. And I'm really looking for thoughts on what you want our reporting form to look like.
Yeah. Bill, do you have any thoughts?
Let me take a look at the form, the sample forms. Paula, are they all in one file?
No, there's 3 different ones. I sent them out late this afternoon before I left.
Yeah, all right. Let me take a look at them, give you my comments.
You want to move it to, well, we don't want to move it, I guess.
Well, I did take a look at the forms, and the one is from the Central Mass Regional Stormwater Coalition.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that really gives us enough information. I'm kind of viewing it as we need the same kind of information that we get from an external interceptor.
But it's a little bit differently and that's what I was confused about, because they talk about, floating oil and grease, settled salt. So it sounds like it's not cleaned as often as an internal grease trap, and the reporting forms were very, very different. And that's why but I agree with you. I think the one from Central Mass is too simple.
Yeah. And then I looked at the one from well, the top of it's cut off a bit. If it is the one that looks.
Here, I can pull them up.
Yeah, why don't you do that?
Yeah, that's the one we don't want. Apologies, I didn't have them up. Okay, so this is the one from PRD. I'm not quite sure what that is, but let me just share my screen. So this is the one from CRD. Can you guys see it?
Yeah, that's for the automotive, is that right?
Yeah, this is for the oil water separator maintenance log. So this would be similar to, this is for Walmart, for Unitil, for the car washes where there's potential for oil from vehicles. So this is one of the forms that was sent out. It's similar to the other, but it's a little bit more complicated than the one from Abbotsford Mission. And I can pull that one up.
With the CMRS.
No, the CMRS, that's too simple, I think.
Yeah, it's pretty simple, straightforward.
So let me so do you guys all have these? Hopefully you have them. I sent them out.
Yeah, I printed them. I printed the 3 of them out, but for some reason I'm missing.
Let me go to the other one. So this is the one from Abbotsford Mission, and this is a little bit simple. It's simpler. It's just the date, the initials, the first, inspection of the first chamber, second chamber, third chamber. And then if action is needed, there's a section for clean out, off-site waste management. So I think this is a little bit simpler to follow than the CRD, but I don't know if it has enough information.
Yeah, it gives us everything we need without being over taking too much of their time.
Bill, your thoughts?
I mean, appearance wise, the CRD looks great, but it is pretty involved. And like you said, the CMRSC is a little too simple.
Do we know what Leominster and Fitchburg use for a form?
That's a good point. I don't know. I can definitely reach out to them.
Paula, why don't you do that?
I mean, is there a time?
Go ahead, Bill. Brett.
Sorry about that. Is there a time frame here?
Well,
I mean, it's not a big decision. We could just pick one. It would be nice to know what they're using though.
So the only time frame is, they were supposed to be licensed. We're late on our grease trap renewals, and this was supposed to be done at the same time. But like I said, this is the first time we're going to be licensing them. So if we wait a couple of weeks, I don't think it's going to be a horrible thing. I'd rather get it right than have to change it. So
okay.
Yeah. All right. Why
don't you
find out what Leominster and or Fitchburg do, and we'll put it on the agenda for the next meeting.
Sounds good.
Yeah, I don't know how this obviously is being a big oversight on the sewer commission. We should have been doing this for years. So
yeah.
Anyway,
Well,
okay.
I just double checked and I don't seem to have received those forms.
You didn't. So
No.
you received some of my emails, but you don't receive all.
Yeah, the last one I got from you was 12:49 today, the reminder for the meeting.
I don't understand why sometimes you don't get them. I'll send them out to you again in the morning.
No problem, thank you.
You're on the group email, but it seems
Michael,
like sometimes you just don't get them.
I'll check my spam.
Do you have a do you have a Lunenburg email yet?
I thought I did.
Yeah, you do.
You did?
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
Do you want me to send it to both, Mike? I can send it to your personal and to the,
That'd be fine.
one.
If-
Okay,
That'd be
okay.
great.
Okay.
Belts and suspenders.
Hey, Paula,
Mhm.
while we're on the email subject, when you get a moment, could you put a little note down to email me contact information with the town IP person so that I can get back on board with my new town email, which isn't so new anymore, but I haven't been able to use it yet.
Okay, yep, sure will.
That'd be great. Thank you.
Okay. All right, any further discussion on the oil and water separators? No, okay. October meeting schedule.
So this is me being a grandma, asking you guys if you really want to meet on Halloween. I have several little ones that I trick or treat with, so.
That was my first thought. It's like Halloween?
Yeah, we have a meeting on
I'm in
Halloween.
my kitchen. You're gonna be hearing bells ringing.
So thoughts?
I think it's important to have Paula at the meetings. But I also think it's important for her to maintain her tradition.
Thanks.
So I do not have a problem not having a meeting on Halloween. But I'd like to get, I mean, if something, obviously something pressing came up, we might have to call a special meeting, but
Right.
I would like for Paula to maintain her tradition.
I'm on board with that.
I am as well.
I agree. I also set up every Halloween for the kids and enjoy it.
Likewise.
I might
Likewise.
dress up this year and go out.
John, I get full-size candy bars.
I live in a very high traffic Halloween neighborhood.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. But that's it. That was it for the October meeting schedule item, right, Paula?
You got it.
Yeah, okay. Town meeting warrants. Can you put those up on the, can you
Yeah,
share
I
those, Paula?
can. Yeah, I can. Hold on one second. This interface is driving me crazy. So apologies. Okay. So there are two proposed right now. Let me just make this bigger.
Got it.
And this is based on funds that we have taken in for these special funds. We've taken in $1,851.30 for the Reserve Capacity Stabilization Fund. These are fees that we receive when people connect. And then we have received $5,340 towards the Inflow and Infiltration Stabilization Fund. And I did verify these numbers, my numbers with the town accountant, and these are correct. So this is something you guys do regularly at the special town meeting.
Right. And when is the special town meeting?
Bill, do you know that?
Oops, no, I don't have the date, but it'd be in November, right?
Yeah, I don't have the exact
Yeah.
date. But I can get it, John, and send it out.
Okay. So and we need, if I remember correct, we need to vote to approve these.
Correct.
Okay. And these numbers aren't gonna change between now and,
No, this is for the last fiscal year, and all of our receipts have been posted for the last fiscal year. All of our expenditures have not yet, but our receipts have, so these numbers are the numbers.
okay. So does someone want to make a motion to make these two transfers? And does that, go ahead.
I'll make a motion to approve transfers for this FY24 special town meeting articles.
Okay, does someone want to second that? It's been seconded. Any further discussion? Seeing none, let's take a roll call vote. Mike Nault,
Aye.
Mike Macklin,
Aye.
Brett Ramsden,
Aye.
and I for myself. The motion is passed. Okay,
John,
Paula,
the town meeting is on November 14th.
November 14th.
Yes,
Thank you, Bill.
you're welcome.
Is anyone going to be trick or treating then?
I'll just still be eating the candy.
That's a distinct possibility.
Okay. All right, Paula, business manager's report. You've got the floor again.
Okay, so system maintenance upgrades. I sent a report out to you guys. I'm keeping track of the pump station maintenance, and hopefully you guys had a chance to review that report. It's broken down by each pump station, and it also lists the component. I'm trying to get an idea of, you know, when a particular pump's given us a problem, or when a how often we have to clean the wet wells. You know, are we having issues with the control panel? So you'll see each component broken out on this report. So Bill, John, and I met with Wade of CTE. Al has left the company. He is actually moving. Albie, his son, is taking over. The reports are being submitted, and Albie's been great at letting Bill know when there's an alarm. And checking in once a week with us and letting us know what's happening. So, you know, it's been a positive step in the right direction with getting information from CTE and opening that line of communication. I did talk with Wade. I don't know if you guys recall, but at the end of last year, we had proposed to replace 3 cranes at the different pump stations. According to Wade, those cranes that were being ordered will not work in those pump stations without modifications, and he doesn't want to have to modify new equipment because that would void the warranty. So he's looking at other solutions and will get back to us. I did encumber those funds. So we'll have to see what he comes up with. Exterior, so that's it for system maintenance upgrades, unless you have something to add, Bill.
Well, I don't know how much you want to talk about our conversation with Wade.
Yeah, so I was going to go into that,
Yeah.
and it's kind of all over the place, but
Yeah.
CTE under invitation for bid, CTE did get the bid. And the award amount was $174,058. And we had a meeting, as I said, the 3 of us, we've actually had 2 meetings. And Wade is redrafting the report so that we can, is created sample templates, and I've been working with him to send him what we have. And he wants to start things going through the company. He's in the process of doing site inspections. He's going to be going out to do site inspections on all of the pump stations with Albie. And then that way they can give us some input on capital planning. You know, you guys had seen the spreadsheet that Al and I had kind of put together, but I really want them to go through it and say, you know, yes, this is a priority, or no, it isn't, or this is more of a priority. So they have that capital planning spreadsheet, and they're going to go through it, and something we'll be working on over the next few months. Is to really what do we need to do to each pump station? Bill, if you want to add anything.
Nope, that's what I was getting at. The other thing was the maintenance that we've been trying to schedule forever with Clean Basins. About 2 weeks ago, they said that they finally got their truck back from the shop. But the owner was going on vacation for 2 weeks. But he said when he comes back, which should be very shortly, he was gonna actually send us 2 trucks so we could get all our maintenance done pretty quick. So that should be coming up shortly.
And the maintenance Bill's talking about is jetting the lines.
Right.
Remind me, are they the ones that we are gonna be using to camera the line on?
A couple of
Mass Ave?
lines, yeah.
Yeah. I think we're gonna use somebody else for the camera work. They were supposed to get a new camera, it's supposed to be in this week. So that's coming up too.
Who is that, Bill?
Martinez.
Martinez, okay.
Yeah.
I guess I would just add, Paula mentioned I was at the 2 meetings with MP. We've been using them for the past 3 years. Wade is fairly new, probably about 6 months. And I had been concerned about moving forward, but I've been, so far, everything seems to be going well. Wade seems to be easy to work with and wants to work with us. And I didn't realize that Albie's son was actually an employee of MP. That again, Albie seems to know what he's doing. So I'm looking forward to the next 3 years at this point in time, working with them.
Chip off the old block.
Yeah. So, okay, Paula.
Exterior maintenance, when John and I visited a couple of the pump stations and actually a few of the pump stations, and the vegetation is really out of control. And so the grass has to be mowed, but additionally, there's some significant work that needs to be done to remove vegetation around some of the fences because it's basically woven the gate and the fences together. And the gates really need to be closed. So we've contracted with Katie Forrester to mow and weed the exterior of the pump stations and make the gates operational. And the cost of that is $3,200. And she should be starting that work soon. There is a lot of poison ivy. There is a lot of significant cutting that needs to happen. So that work is going to move forward soon. Katie she was on vacation, I think this past week, but she came in to get the keys and to be able to start work when she gets back. Invitation for bid, I just told you about the operational plan. As I said, right now, over the next couple months, Wade, Albie, and Bill and I will be working on trying to flesh out a capital plan and what we need to do. Inflow and infiltration. Bill and I met with John of FR Mahoney and Mike Macon. You didn't, is it Macon or Macon? Mac, I can't hear you, you're muted.
It's Mackin.
Mac, okay, that's okay, so Macon. So you weren't aware, but sometime in the last several months, I had recommended to the board that we look at investing in some equipment to try to determine where our I&I significant problems are. And it's called a spill sense. It's one of the least cost tools that's available, but I think it's going to give us a really good idea of where we need to focus and do we need to invest in some additional technology. But so John of FR Mahoney came out and representatives of Fluid Conservation Systems. They're actually the manufacturer of Spill Sense, and I did send out in the packets some of the literature from them. But they showed Bill and I, how the equipment works. They showed us the interface that we're going to have on our phone or on our computer to be able to tell what's going on. And it's portable, so we can put it in one manhole and see what's going on and then move it to another manhole and see what's going on. So Eventually, if it does give us a good data points, we may want to look at investing more, but obviously before we did that, we wanted to try one and see how it works. And as any company would do, they came out and wanted us to look at the newer, greater model. But right now we're going to stick with the spill sense and hopefully get that going. We do have a purchase order in for it, so hopefully within the next couple of months we'll have that. And they will be training Bill and I on how to use it, and potentially Albie on how to log into it and how to use it.
I mean, I think a great example of where it would work well is, we believe we have quite a I&I problem on Richards Way. Wherever Richards Way enters our main sewer line, at that manhole, I mean, when we have rain, in theory, the flow shouldn't change.
Right, actually, a lot of the manholes at Richards Way were done in this last round of manhole repairs. So hopefully we don't have as big a problem there.
How recently were those done?
Bill, when did they do the manhole repairs?
On Richards Way?
Yeah, when we did, did we do Richards? Way?
No, we did Mass Ave.
We just
Mass
did
Ave.
Mass Ave, we didn't do
Right.
Richards Way. Okay,
Right.
so John, you're right, okay.
Yeah, but that's just, a simple example of where that meter might really see how bad the flow is when it
Mhm.
rains.
Yeah,
Okay,
and that's all I have.
okay. Any questions or thoughts regarding anything Paula's talked about during her business manager report?
Just excited to put that meter to work, see what it comes up with.
Yeah.
Could make a really big difference. Short term even.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, okay, any public comment from the public? We have no one that's joined, right?
Nope,
Any public comment from the commissioners or staff? No? You can see the list of the upcoming meetings minus the October 31st meeting. So if anyone wants to make a motion to adjourn, I'll certainly will entertain that.
Before
Mike?
before you do that, I just want to let you guys know, one of the topics for discussion at the meeting on September 12th will be the IMA. And just to give you an overview.
Right.
Some suggestions, and we did meet with town council and it cannot be done in executive session. So just to give you a heads up, and I'll be sending out some information. I sent out some today. But we'll be talking about that at the September 12th meeting.
Okay. All right then. Does anyone want to make a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Mike, the motion is yours.
Go ahead, Mike.
No,
It's all yours now. You got it.
I make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Anyone want to second that? Mike?
I'll second that.
Any further discussion there? No? Quick roll call here. Mike Mackin,
Yeah,
Brett,
Aye.
Mike Naltz,
Aye.
I for myself. The meeting is adjourned.
Good
Thank you.
night, Lunenburg.
Good
thank
night,
you.
everybody.
Just one
Oh.
reminder, has that sorry, Paula, Bonnie's my wife. Paula, do you still need people to sign the encumbrances?
No, I have a majority. I'm good.
Okay.
Okay,
And Jane, I wanted to let you know my thoughts and prayers are with you, Jane. If she's still there.
she is there. She's muted though.
Yeah.
No, thank you, Brett.
Okay. If you need anything, we're here.
I don't.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Good night, everyone. Thank you.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Night, all.
Good night, everybody.
Night.
Bye-bye.